Hey everybody, and welcome back to Principles of Learning, our monthly show that focuses on our elementary and secondary principals right here in the Hatboro-Horsham School District. I'm Dave Thomas, your host, and our guest today is Steve Glaize, principal of Hallowell Elementary. Steve, thanks for coming on the show today.
Dave.
Appreciate that. You know, we watched that opening and all those principals there, and you know, a lot of our principals have kind of been around the district before. They start here either as teachers, some in case they've been students here, in the case of you know, Dennis. We have this kind of chemistry with our students, especially when we come from here. And one thing that we've noticed about you over the years is that, you know, even at Halliwell, which is one of our smaller schools, you can definitely make that connection to students. And as we, you know, in the show today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the fact of, you know, stuff that you do over at Hallowell, which, by the way, if you're not sure where it is, it's the one over by the bus garage, right across from the air base. The air base, of course, coming into play a lot these days.
Right.
But tell us first and foremost about your opinion of Hallowell Elementary. What is it about that place for you?
Well, Halliwell, for me, my first principal job, I had a year as an assistant principal at Simmons. I love the people, the atmosphere. Right from the moment that I became principal, I knew that I was going to love the place. Just had the opportunity to really get to know the children and their families. And when you get to know children and families and the staff, what you can do collectively and what you can accomplish collectively has been wonderful. So I've really, really enjoyed it.
Now, you touched on it a little bit too. You were at Simmons first, and you do have a history in our district. But
yes.
Take us back a little bit on some of that history. Where have you been? How did you get to this point in your career?
Actually started as a student teacher at Simmons way back, I think, in 1993. Started in 94 as a fifth grade teacher. Spent 12 years as a teacher at Simmons. As I said, 1 year as assistant principal, and now this is, I can't believe it, my 5th year as Hallowell principal. So I'm going on 17 plus years now in the school district.
That's a pretty good tenure among principals too, to have 5 years somewhere in one spot. That's pretty good.
It's been great.
Let's go back a little bit. You know, you were a student at one point. Yeah, so did you have a teacher that maybe inspired you to say, you know, I want to be in education, I want to be an educator, and then someday I even want to be a principal? Was there somebody who kind of did that for you?
Well, you know, all the way through, I've been very, very lucky. All the way through, right from elementary school on. I grew up in upstate New York, and I went to Shenango Forks High School.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a very small school, very small district, but a wonderful district, a wonderful place to grow up. And in each area, elementary school, middle school, and high school, all of the teachers, all of the principals, people that I've interacted with made a mark and really helped to shape who I am. And so it's hard to pinpoint one or two people. I really felt all the way through that school has been such a wonderful experience for me that I think it's appropriate that I've chosen the career that I have and the work that I do, because all the way through was something very, very positive for me.
One thing that I've taken in as an educator, and it has been so many times we refer back to our past. There was a teacher that was one way that we want to emulate, mimic.
Right.
And at the same time, there are ones that we definitely don't.
Right.
So let's go back to, we saw some of those pictures on the monitor of little Stevie Glaize up there in upstate New York, where they get a lot more snow than we do here. But you know, when we look at those pictures of you, what things did you take from your childhood as far as education that you say, in my school, we're going to do it this way? What things did you take with you?
One of the lessons, and I'm going to go back to high school, one of the lessons for me was trying to be a well-rounded student. And so when I was in high school, you know, put a lot of effort into my studies, but also wanted to be involved in other endeavors. And so one of the things was being involved on stage, in the theater, also being involved in sports. I was a really big basketball player. I love the sport, still do. Yeah. And wanted to show that you can excel in a variety of different areas, also in the area of community service, giving back to your community. And that's one of the areas that, as I'm principal, that I want to support are the different strengths that our children have. And whether it be things of creativity, the arts, music, sports, athletics, looking at academics, obviously, but looking at each individual strength and trying to highlight that strength and showing children how proud I am for what they bring and who they are. And that certainly was shaped by my experiences in high school.
Well, and I'll tell you, by walking into Halliwell on any given day, that is the climate that you get. You get that vibe from those students where you walk in and it's a small school, but yet everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everything about everybody, and everybody from the time you walk in that door is like, well, you're here to see so and so. Oh, they're doing this today. Everyone is on board and connecting to everybody else, and whether that's a tribute to your philosophy behind it or not, but I can't help but imagine that it wouldn't be, because that's the climate over 5 years that you have gone out of your way to create.
Well, I appreciate that. Everything that we do has a purpose. The things that we have on the walls, the colors that we have, the pictures that we choose, the displays that we have, the bulletin boards that we put up, all of it has a thoughtful purpose behind it, because we are trying to give a message, and that message is you're valued, you're supported, you're special. There's things about you that we are going to highlight because you are a part of our school. Wow. And so we take great pride in that. And everything that we do, even like I said, the pictures that you put on the walls, the colors that we have, well, how our classrooms look and how our school looks from the outside and from the inside, that's very, very important to us.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people probably watching the show and listening to that message saying, I wish I had that after 5th grade. I wish I had that every day. I want to feel special every day. Give me a color. Give me a philosophy. I want to feel good today. Right. It is a very special place, and you've had a very special milestone this year too. You know, you've been there for the last 5, but 45 years before that. Yes. You know, it's the 50th year of Hallowell Elementary. Yes. It had to do some special stuff. What have you been doing to kick that celebration off?
Yeah, we had our kickoff celebration at the end of September. Had the opportunity to invite past teachers. The first principal of Halliwell, that man had passed away, but we were able to connect with his son. The man lives in Connecticut. I was able to connect with him, and he drove down and shared stories about what it was like to be the principal's son. Oh, wow. And we had current staff members, parents, of course, our students. It was just an absolutely wonderful time. It was really a chance for us to think about where we had come, where we are now, and where we're going, and what we'd like to be. Gave us a chance to reflect and think and talk and share memories and good times with people throughout the years that have been a part of Halliwell. And for me, it was a great honor just to be a part of it and to be a part of something so special.
The latest chapter of it too. Yep. We're looking at a lot of the shots on the monitor there of that 50th birthday party, for lack of a better term. But you know, you see that consistency, and you see the fact that this has always been a smaller school, but at the same time, we focus on our kids. We focus on the kids from these neighborhoods. These are our kids, and 50 years later, that hasn't changed. And you get that vibe when you walk into Hallowell. It's one of my favorite little schools to walk into, because they do concentrate so much on those students every day, everything they do. So another way that they show that, the Fall Festival. I know we have some shots of the Fall Festival as well. Tell us, what was the Fall Festival?
Fall Festival, it's an annual event. The beauty is it's indicative of all the work that our Home and School Association puts into a lot of different events. And it's a family event. Have the opportunity to bring kids. We had the kids decorate some bags that they could use on Halloween. We had a special science presenter come, and it just gives an opportunity for kids to share times with one another, our families to do the same, in a really, again, welcoming atmosphere, in a fun atmosphere, and just sharing those times.
Speaking of fun, that looks fun right there. We got some, what is it, toilet paper? Or is that paper towel? It's got some fire involved? Wow, that looks fun.
Yeah, the scientist, quote unquote scientist, yeah, he was great. He was great.
Man, anytime a guy in a tie-dye shows up, now you got a good time going on. You got some science experiments. That's cool. That is cool. But look, you see the pictures on, and their looks on those kids' faces. That was a good time.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to our Home and School. You know, our Home and School runs all of these events, and they're the ones that and they make such a huge impact on how our school runs and all the things that they do. And this is just one example of the things that they do. So
and yet another
very
connection. Yeah, connection between them, us. We're all on the same page to make it fun for those kids. All right, family math night. Want to talk about that one next? I am never a big math fan. Have never been a big math fan. English much stronger suit for me. But I guess if you're going to have a family math night, it's good to bring in everybody for the people like me who don't like to talk about math at all.
Well, the neat part about this family math night is that it really exceeded my expectations on the number of people that were going to show up.
Okay.
And all of the teacher volunteers that came in and the staff volunteers that came in, they took little sections, worked with children in their grade level. We also had the opportunity to share some of our current initiatives, things like our First in Math program. So students had the opportunity to get on our netbooks and on our laptops, also our desktop computers in the computer lab. I brought my iPad and we shared some everyday math apps. There's an app for everything, so we shared some apps for Top It and Beat the Computer and other things. And the beauty is that our parents got to see and then take some notes and say, where did you get that? And they're free, and so you can find a lot of free apps. We had the opportunity to bring in a smart board and show those applications as well. And then take away from that, what are some things that at home that you can do?
Sure.
And so, for our parents, it was really an opportunity to share some of the things that we're doing, but also an opportunity to really talk about what you can do to help.
And give some tools in the toolbox.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
We're going down quite a laundry list of things here today, all the things, but let's not miss the fact. You have a lot going on at that school.
Yeah, we
do. We're going to talk about the Go for 3 Spirit Day in a second, but the fact is, as principal, how much control do you have / want of all this stuff going on? Because one could look at that and say, well, hey, are they still teaching at that school? But
right,
you are, but you have all these extending activities.
Right.
How is that? How do you manage all that?
It's a collective effort. I mean, my role is to help set what the broad goals of the school are going to be, and really to be a cheerleader. The work that our staff does each and every day, and the initiative that they show, my job is to kind of stay out of the way and to be a cheerleader, to be the one to say, this is really awesome. We need to share that. We need to make sure that other people in our school see it, outside of our school see it. So in terms of what my role is and what I do each and every day, it gives me, my role is to give people the opportunity to do the best job that they can do. And so a lot of the things that we've talked about are not that I'm running those things. It really is me being supportive for the work that our people do. And I'm talking about our teachers, our staff members, our parent volunteers, and really, again, just be supportive of the great work that they do. So it is a collective effort.
All right, well, cheer Captain Glaize. We're going to talk about the Go for 3 Spirit Day next. Tell us about that one and how you helped cheer on some spirit.
Yeah, one of the biggest initiatives that we've been doing now for several years, and the Go for 3 is indicative of that, is this emphasis upon student leadership. And so through our Education Foundation, I know we're going to be talking more about the Ed Foundation later on, they have been very supportive of the things that we're doing at Halliwell amongst all of our elementary schools and across the district. This idea of student leadership came from a book, The 7 Habits of Happy Kids by Sean Covey, one of the sons of Dr. Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Sure. So a few years ago, we had the opportunity to bring Sean to our district. All of the teachers have a copy of that book, and we've really been then using that language, being proactive. In other words, you're in charge. You're in charge of your emotions, your reactions, things like that. Thinking win-win, thinking about ways in which you're benefiting yourself, but also others. Seeking first to understand, then to be understood. Listening first, then talking. We are using that language with our students already in kindergarten, and we're building that through our program. So the Go for 3 Spirit Day is a way to remind students about what are good habits, what are the 7 habits, what does it mean to be a leader, and what are your responsibilities as a student for our school. So we do it every year, and we use it as a way to build teamwork, to build that sense of leadership, to talk about the habits, really set the tone for the school year. So it's been we've been doing this now for several years, and it's really been exciting.
What an amazing skill set they are getting without even realizing they're getting it, and that's the beauty of education. We put these things in place and for years. Right. And then they won't realize what they're actually getting. They're just doing it.
Yes.
They're just cooperating with others. They're contributing to their overall community and have that sense of value. And they don't even realize they're getting it, but yet the programming behind the scenes is well intact.
So, and the next part of that then is for students to formalize the learning, their learning, academic and social, to put it down, we're calling them data notebooks, to put them into data notebooks, and then to share that information with one another and with their parents. Wow. And so we had the opportunity last year, our 3rd grade, started this, had the opportunity to invite many members of our community, our school board, central administration to come so our students could share what that was like, all the things that they had learned. And now we're just going to build on that. And so we're doing some electronic data notebooks, for example, where one of our teachers has tablets, like iPads, and the students are keeping track of their progress through the tablets. And it's just growing. And the neat part about it is that it's growing at our school. It's growing across the elementary schools. It's growing K-12 across the district. And for me, that's one of the neat parts about being a principal, is that you're in a position of leadership where you can make a difference in the lives of your students and then many students all across the district.
Totally. You know, you mentioned the HHEF, and the bottom line is, without the Hatboro-Horsham Educational Foundation, many of us, including myself, could not have the programs that we have.
Right.
Many of the things through the grant writing have been funded by the HHEF for this TV studio, for these cameras, for the curriculum that we teach our students to work this stuff.
Right.
But you have also benefited from them.
Yes.
One in particular we want to talk about is the songwriting program.
Yes.
That just sounds fun.
It's,
that just really sounds fun. Tell me about that, please.
We had the opportunity to connect with the performing duo Two of a Kind, and David and Jenny, we've connected with them for years, and they had brought to me several years ago this idea of doing some songwriting. And it wasn't in the cards a couple of years ago, but we're at a good spot. And so we tried again, and we tied it into, again, this idea of 7 habits and leadership. And so at our school and several of the other elementary schools, they have gone in, worked with our 3rd and 4th grade students, and creating original songs, and I had the opportunity to go into the classrooms, and in 5 short sessions they are creating songs, doing things like, okay, let's come up with a lyric, let's come up with the first line, what is our first line, and then they would say to the kids, all right, I want you to start singing that first line, however you think it should be, you should sing it. So now picture all the kids singing that, and they'd say, you know, I heard something over here. Sing that again. And then that became the melody. So it was that quick. And then before you know it, and I had the opportunity yesterday, got emailed a bunch of sheet music, and all the songs are done. So next week, the students are going to be presenting at our school. And then I believe in February, early February, all of those elementary schools across the district that are involved in this grant, they're going to be presenting and performing for parents and community members at the high school.
What a sense of collaboration, though. Again, they don't know they're getting it,
right.
But wow, what are they getting?
Right.
Just another program, and look, you see the looks on their faces. I mean, it's fun, they're smiling, they're laughing, and they're getting so many educational benefits without realizing they're getting educational benefits. And I think if they knew what they were getting, they'd be like, oh, it's not fun anymore. But you know, you see right there just how wonderful it is. Steve, thank you so much. You can see the fact that by watching the program that there are so many things that are being offered to our students at Halliwell under your leadership there, with the help of the teachers and the staff members there. And that's why we do this show. We want people that in 15 minutes of watching this show, they get a true sense of what's going on inside those walls. So I thank you for bringing us inside your school for a quick look, a 15-minute capsule. But you know, as always, your doors are open to anyone in the community who wants to come in and see these things. Contact you, and these things are available to all the people in the Hatboro-Horsham School District.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Steve. Again, thank you.
Thanks.
And that will do it for this edition of Principles of Learning. But we're not done yet. We have lots of principals to talk to. Later this month, we're going to have Amy Roslevich on board. She's the principal of Pennypack Elementary. She will be our next guest. But for all of us here on HHTV, thank you once again for watching. I'm Dave Thomas. Have a great day.